The Man Who Knew My Name. It was an early morning in late autumn, the kind where the air carried a crisp chill, and the sky was a dull shade of gray. My campus didn't offer housing, so every day I walked about half a mile to school. That morning, as I strolled down my usual path, lost in my thoughts, I noticed an old man riding a bicycle in my direction. Normally, I would step aside to let bikers pass, but instead, he slowed down and stopped right in front of me. "Don't worry," he said with a smile, his voice unsettlingly calm. "I'm not going to hurt you." I froze. I hadn't said a word. The way he spoke, as if he had read my mind, sent a cold chill up my spine. I forced a nervous chuckle. Okay." The old man tilted his head slightly as if studying me. "You should be careful walking alone. You never know who might be watching." An uneasy silence settled between us. I looked around, expecting to see someone else nearby, but the street was eerily empty. When I turned back, the old man was still watching me, his eyes filled with something I couldn't quite decipher. "I have to get to class," I muttered, stepping around him. I walked faster than usual, my heart pounding. The air felt heavier, thick with something unseen. The faint sound of bicycle wheels turning echoed behind me again. Closer this time. My mind raced. Was it real, or was I just being paranoid? I told myself it was just my imagination, the lingering effects of a creepy encounter. But then, another faint sound almost like a breath whispered through the air. I turned sharply, my pulse hammering, but the street was empty. Or at least, that's what I wanted to believe. I turned sharply. Nothing. Just an empty street stretching into the distance. But the streetlights flickered, and for a split second I swore I saw a figure standing beneath one, its face obscured in shadow. The sensation of eyes boring into my back was overwhelming, like an invisible weight pressing down on me. The faint sound of bicycle wheels turning echoed behind me, though when I glanced back, there was nothing but empty pavement. When I reached campus, I tried to shake off the encounter, telling myself it was just a weird old man who meant no harm. But something about him lingered in my mind. That night, as I was lying in bed, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Did you make it home safe?" My stomach dropped. I hadn't given my number to anyone recently. My hands trembled as I typed a response. "Me? Who is this?" No reply. I locked my phone and tried to sleep, but paranoia clawed at me. I checked the locks on my door twice before finally lying down. The next morning, I convinced myself I had imagined things. Maybe it was just a prank. I left for class as usual, keeping an eye out for the old man. He was nowhere to be seen. But as I turned the corner near the main road, I saw something that made my blood run cold. A bicycle. Not just any bicycle, it was his, parked neatly against a tree, as if he had left it there on purpose. I glanced around, scanning the area. The street was busy now, students walking in every direction. No sign of the old man. Maybe he was just running errands. Maybe it was all a coincidence. I tried to ignore it, but the uneasy feeling followed me throughout the day. Later that evening, as I was heading home, I felt it again. A weight, an invisible presence, lurking just beyond my vision. The streetlights above buzzed softly, flickering as if struggling against an unseen force. The air grew colder, biting at my skin despite my jacket. Every instinct in me screamed to run, but my legs felt like lead. The presence, the sensation of being watched was no longer a passing feeling, it was suffocating, crawling up my spine like ice-cold fingers. Shadows in the streetlights seemed to stretch toward me, reaching, waiting, the distinct sensation of being watched. Every time I glanced over my shoulder, I saw nothing, but the feeling wouldn't leave. As I approached my apartment building, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. "You look tired. You should sleep early tonight." My breath hitched. I looked around frantically. The street was empty. "Me? Who are you?" Still no response. I practically ran into my apartment, double-locking the door behind me. My mind raced through possibilities. Was I being stalked? Was this some elaborate joke? But deep down, I knew. It was him. That night, I barely slept. Every small sound made me jump. The wind against my window, the hum of my fridge, it all felt amplified, like my senses were in overdrive. Then, sometime past midnight, a soft sound echoed through my apartment. Tap, tap, tap. A knock at my window. The sound was impossibly slow, calculated, like someone was savoring the moment. My breath hitched. The shadows outside my window seemed to ripple, warping unnaturally. The street below was empty, but there, just beyond the glass, something moved just out of sight. It wasn't just any knock, it was slow, deliberate, as if someone wanted me to know they were there, waiting. The rhythm was almost melodic, an eerie pattern that sent a pulse of pure dread through me. I sat up, heart hammering. My window was on the second floor. No one should be able to reach it. I hesitated, then slowly turned my head toward the glass. My curtains were drawn, but I could see a faint silhouette standing outside. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Then, as if sensing my fear, the shadow shifted. A long, skeletal hand pressed against the glass, its fingers too many, too wrong. The pressure left an imprint, a smear of something dark and wet trailing down the pane. My breath came in short, shallow bursts as the thing outside exhaled a slow, rattling breath that fogged the window from the outside. A long, skeletal hand pressed against the glass, fingers too thin, too elongated to be human. The air in my room grew impossibly cold, my breath coming out in small white puffs. My body refused to move, but deep inside, something primal screamed at me to run, and a voice low and familiar whispered through the glass, "Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you."